So I've wanted for forever to have total immersion in my viewing experience. You know, I like getting the super clear picture. I like getting as many pixels as I can have. I like the surround sound where the movies are tickling my earballs. They're coming in.
You
close.
want more tickling than that. You're not fooling anyone. Just get to what you really mean. You want a grope suit.
I'm building up. I'm building up here. So you know, my eyes are getting done by this. My ears are getting done. You know, I wouldn't mind the movies where they've got the jiggling seats. You know, you come in there and you know, you got the seats jiggling for you whenever a big thing happens. But you know, right? The high point of this is, of course, you need to smell the movies.
It's not a story without an odor. I agree with you. If there's no odor, there's no story. From a movie review by Glenn Erickson.
Ooh.
On DVD Savant, and I'm sure you know the site.
DVD Savant.
I know.
Like I'm Rain Man of DVDs.
Yeah.
Like I know all of the DVDs.
It's a strange one. 1959, Holiday in Spain is not an ordinary film experience. As with Michael Todd's Around the World in 80 Days, Michael Todd will come back into this story later.
Okay.
The show is a giant screen travelogue with an adventure storyline.
Ah, cool. I like that.
I'm quoting pretty much directly from this one, so if the words sound unusual, it's because they're not mine. They sound differently unusual to mine.
Okay, fair
The
enough.
wisely chosen director is the camera genius Jack Cardiff, who at all times keeps the screen active and the angles interesting.
You know, when you're doing a movie review, I want to know, like, first off, good story or not? Is it a cracking story? Did the actors do well?
Yeah.
But camera angles,
Straight into it.
it's not my first thing.
I know, I start with
keeps the camera
I want to know about
moving.
editing first.
Is the camera moving?
The story is slight and the characterization's almost nil.
Okay, so there you go.
There you go.
We got to those. Fair enough.
We got there. The story is semi-comic, almost casual chase-like thriller. On holiday in Spain, adventure-seeking Briton Oliver Larker becomes aware of a death threat to one Sally Kennedy. Mm-hmm. He tries to protect her while various sinister agents circle about them. Baron Saradin. Oh, carry on, yeah.
Baron Satter. That is classic. Classic good name for a baddie. That's
the
awesome.
long moustache and the kind of thing. And his cohort. So there's a cohort. I think he means consort, but anyway, Baron Saradin and his consort or cohort, Margarita, put Oliver onto the wrong path. Drunken Irishman, Johnny Gin.
Johnny Gin. Stop it.
Serving as Sancho Panza to Oliver's Don Quixote is Smiley, a taxi driver willing to do most anything as long as the meter is running. Beverly denies being in danger until both Oliver and American Robert Fleming come to her rescue at the same time. Mm-hmm. That's awkward. I'm here to rescue her. No, I am.
Double damsel in distress?
Yep.
Or double distressed damsel?
Single distressed damsel, double helper dudes.
Yeah, okay.
Fleming brings proof that Beverly will soon inherit a large fortune. Oh. Knowing that the greedy Tommy has only a few hours to eliminate Beverly, Robert and Oliver flip a coin to see which one of them will watch the bad guys and which one will flee with the, quote, mystery target.
Okay.
Confused yet?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It still doesn't feel like a slight plot. It feels like a few things, maybe even too many things are going anyway.
Holiday in Spain is fairly diverting for a film that really exists to put pretty scenery on a giant screen. The story frequently steps aside to make way for the 70mm eye candy, so that technology 70mm film was a bigger deal.
It was good. It was at the time.
Yep.
In the DVD era.
Pre-DVD. Well, this is 1959, but for some reason Glenn has a particularly detailed review. There are many reviews of this movie, by the way.
Okay.
So what do we got? We got the eye candy. So the eye candy, for example, aerial views of storybook castles, points of view of cars racing through the street, barrels rolling down alleys, and our heroes climbing on rooftops.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the barrels rolling down alleys.
Apparently it looks very cool.
Not enough of that in movies. And I'd be scared if I was in that alley and a barrel comes down.
Well, it depends how big the barrel is. 5 litre barrel? Yeah, I can handle that.
That could still hurt your shins.
You can jump over it.
Full of beer.
They're not very big.
Still, I don't want it hitting me. And it can get up a fair bit of speed.
What if I'm looking the other way?
What if it's the first out of a lot? What if the whole pub at the top has tipped out all of their barrels?
Yeah.
And you've got to... I don't like that.
That scares me more. Now I can't sleep. The filmmakers seem to have located every vertiginous location in Spain. Apartments, hotels, castles, and even gardens are always right next to tall cliffs, usually with no guardrail. I hate that. The most fantastic location is an impossible-looking gorge where stone catwalks hug tall cliffs and a train line traverses tunnels carved straight through a mountain.
That's cool. Again, no guardrail?
No God, no. They're Spanish. They're too tough for that. So it sounds visually awesome, particularly for the day. Holiday in Spain has perhaps the most convoluted special format and process backstory of any film ever made.
Oh, okay.
It showcased the fun bits of some noteworthy newer tech, like 70mm format.
Yep.
It apparently had a proprietary 8-track sound system,
Whoa.
and all the other 70mm before then only had 6.
Wow.
So this is
what's the difference? So you can have
2
like
tracks.
extra tubas or something like that.
Yep, more tuba. All Spanish movies need more tuba. It also premiered with a different name, not Holiday in Spain, but Scent of Mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And its original ads featured the slugline. First they moved, 1895. Then they talked, 1927. Now they smell. So in the history of movie tech, smell as a technology as such preceded sound.
No. What?
Yeah. So the first talking movie picture was a full, little snippets and things were in Paris around 1900.
Sorry, talking movie in 1900?
Film or short things with sound, but the sound wasn't on the film and it was a little bit...
Oh, so they played it as sort of separate way, like a gramophone at the same time or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first feature film with fully synced talkie action was in 1927. It was called The Jazz Singer, featuring Al Jolson in a not at all racist portrayal of black people.
It's really tough to do the history of these things where, you get these innovations, you go, that's cool, but why did you use it for that? Why was that the first thing?
I don't know.
Why?
But Al Jolson was, I think, the first guy to do that whole sort of black and white minstrel gig.
I don't know if he was, maybe in movies, but
In movies,
I believe
televised.
the black and white minstrels had a much older history than that.
I think you're right. The earliest reference I could see to smells in movie theatres was in like 1868.
1868? Yeah. There aren't movie theatres in 1868.
Yeah, kind of were. So this is what the Alhambra Theatre of Variety in London. So the Rimmel scent, which I think is just a perfume or something, was sprayed into the room during the magic dance of the fairy acorn tree.
That's nice.
So that was 1868. 1916, there's a theatre in Pennsylvania. They dipped cotton wool into rose oil and they put it in front of a fan during a newsreel about the Rose Bowl game. Let's be clear, Rose Bowl, nothing to do with roses. It's football, I believe.
Yeah, but maybe like I think there's a whole bunch of bowls in America, like the Rose Bowl and the Lemon Bowl and the something, and that's the local
bowl.
championship. And so if your state's biggest agriculture was roses or something like that,
I think you're reading a lot more literalness into it.
But there could be roses associated with it.
There could be. That's true.
Wow, though. Yeah. Here's the scent of roses to make you think of... I get doing the scent thing, but that's tenuous.
It is.
So that was news?
Very hard to argue. 1929, Boston Theatre put lilac oil in the ventilating system to get audiences in the mood for a love story set during World War I called Lilac Time. I mean, really, you're like, we're going to watch a love story from World War I.
That sounds nice.
Smells like flowers. 1943. So I love the quote from the source I got. This was Hollywood tried compressed air to force various artificial scents through air conditioning systems. That was in the 43. A theatre, or early 40s. In 43, a theatre in Detroit showed a movie called The Seahawk, which was a swashbuckling film starring, of course, Errol Flynn.
Pirate smell.
Yeah.
You get pirate smell.
Yeah, the smells they included was things like tar from a sailing ship to add to the ambience. Tar and pitch.
I want to smell like whale blubber and the salt air.
I want to smell
Moby
tar. There's another one called Boomtown, also in 1943. It was a drama which each character was given a distinctive smell. So Clark Gable was tobacco, Spencer Tracy was pine, and Hedy Lamarr was the perfume My Sin.
So what, they'd spray these when these actors came in?
Yeah, instead of having your own theme song, you not like Darth Vader.
That's really cool.
They got a waft instead. Problem with the early smellies, though. There are a few problems. One of them, clouds of perfume would accumulate in theatres, so smells would pile up. So if you had sequences of smells, so Clark would come on and you'd get tobacco, and then as the tobacco's just getting into your schnoz, you get a waft of Spencer Tracy's pine, and then My Sin would come in as Hedy Lamarr.
And then some tar
on screen.
And some whale blubber.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you walk into a cinema.
And you're like, what the fuck is going on? Also, we don't process new smells until we've cleared the old ones. That's why perfume places, get you to smell coffee or something to kind of snap it. So that was a problem. We get olfactory fatigue, so we just actually kind of stop smelling. Our system goes, I'm
not noticing that anymore.
It's
I get it, but what's the point? Once you're in the sewer, there's not a point of continuing to smell like you're in the sewer. Like that. There's no
message received.
Yeah, got
it's
it.
Gross down.
Got it. Shutting that one off now. Don't need that anymore.
No new information required. In 1933, there was an early version of an in-theatre smell system. It was installed in the Rialto Theatre on Broadway. But it would take over an hour to clear the smells from the theatre, and some smells would linger for days. Also, if you released smells in one part of the theatre, you needed it to move to the other parts. So you either needed to put a lot in it or in somewhere, so the people nearest get overwhelmed, and the people at the other end are like, I can't smell shit. And my favourite, this came up a lot in different reviews and things, paraphrasing, artistic integrity and honouring the director's intentions. The smell could detract from what the director really wanted to convey.
How?
Because you'd go, what the fuck is that smell?
Okay, yeah, so you're paying attention to the smell, but you put some tar in when the pirates are on the scene. How is that detracting?
Well, maybe that's not what they wanted you to focus on. They wanted to focus on Errol Flynn's swashbucklery.
Okay, all right.
So the smellscape thing in movies wasn't going so well. So what this whole new fledgling industry needed was a Swiss guy, Hans Laube.
Yes.
So he was described as a tall, grey-haired man who affected owlishly severe dark eyeglasses. Owlishly severe.
He wore them.
No, this review said affected.
He wore them.
Yes.
I mean,
with affect.
Yeah, sure. Okay, he's a guy that likes his glasses, but still.
He does. He's variously called a professor, an advertising executive, an electrical engineer, and an expert in osmology, the science of odours.
Ugh.
Variously is doing a lot of work there. Variously called many of these things. So in the late 1930s, somewhere around that, it says basically the stuff I read said kind of before World War II, so late 1930s, he invented a method for cleaning the air out of large auditoriums, and it was widely used throughout Europe. Cleaning the air out. So from there, apparently, he became fascinated with reversing the process. And I'm thinking that's not hard. You want to make a room smell bad? I know how to do that. So he wanted to put odours of his choosing back into rooms. So he developed this artificial scent delivery process, which he called Scento-vision.
You know what I'm going to call it? It's you put the scent in front of a fan and it moves.
So you're going to call it fanny scent?
Yes or no. Probably not.
Choose your country.
But I'm just going to say that it doesn't sound like that much of an invention to move a smell. All you need to do is have a fan.
You're begging to be told about the technique, aren't you?
Oh, my God. Of course I am.
It's coming. So he called it Scento-vision. New York Times Review, November 1957. Couple of quotes here. There's a few quotes in this because I can't do any better than these people wrote themselves. Backers of Scento-vision hope to interest theatres in permanent installations. So
I hope they
installations
lost.
are
I really hope they lost a lot of money. Not that I am, biased.
Why do you hate the wealthy?
I don't. I hate idiots. And
How dare you say he's Swiss? The Swiss are never idiotic. So the quote goes on, Mr. Laube's most recent experiments have been with supermarket displays. Slides of various products are accompanied by such odours as orange, lemon, goulash, the obvious next one. Goulash. I know, like what the fuck?
Maybe it was easy to make, but I get orange and I get lemon.
Do that now. Conjure the smell of goulash like it's one smell for starters.
Orange and lemon, you're like, okay, orange juice is delicious, or lemon you can put in. They also smell clean because there's got the citrusy sort of thing.
Goulash is not clean.
Goulash is not clean.
Meat and cream doesn't say fresh as a daisy.
If you're pushing your shopping trolley around the aisles and you smell orange, you're like, that's all right. And then suddenly you get a big waft of goulash. You're like, oh,
for starters, there's no way you're going, that's goulash. You're going, that's meat and cream and other ingredients hot.
I really think you're thinking something has spilt. Like there's a thing on the floor. What have I got to avoid?
Preferably on the floor.
I want to go back. This is my dream for a time machine, to go back to a time when someone is wafting the smell of goulash through a supermarket.
Oh. It goes on cheese, banana, smoked ham, and chocolate pie. The fuck does chocolate pie smell like? It smells like pie, right? It smells like crust.
And chocolate, obviously.
Okay. The inventor also sees a future for synchronized perfume emissions from television sets.
Oh, yeah.
So he sorted out what I'd call the lingering pong problem, where scent A hangs around too long and clashes with scent B.
Yep.
Commercial perfumes contain fixatives.
Do they?
Yeah, and their purpose is to make the smell remain. That's what they do.
Oh, okay.
So he removes the fixatives so scents are temporary, and if they don't disappear quickly enough, he has neutralizer sprays, and then the next smell can come in.
This smells like he's just making shit up, not just... This doesn't smell like actual chemistry.
Not making shit up, inventing. Very fine line. So he and a buddy produced a 35-minute smellodrama.
Oh, Jesus.
A movie called Mein Traum, which means my dream. And it was shown at the 1940 World's Fair in New York. The projectionist would operate a control board with dials so that they could release 32 different odours at the right time. But I think it was all individual. So it included roses, coconut, tar, hay, peaches, things like that.
That's wild.
No goulash. Goulash-free movie. I don't want to see it. So there's no goulash in it. Fuck you, Star Wars.
No.
Not a hint of goulash. One newspaper said his setup, quote, produced odours as quickly and easily as the soundtrack of a film produced sound.
Wow, that quickly?
But the New York Times came in and said, look, audiences thought the film's simulated bacon aroma didn't really seem real, but the incense was on the mark. That's because you could probably use incense.
You probably could.
So after this, it seems not a lot happened.
Why?
Until.
What?
Laube's work caught the attention of, quote, flamboyant Broadway and Hollywood producer Michael Todd.
Give me a year.
We're talking late 50s. Mm-hmm. It also caught the attention of Michael Todd's son, Michael Todd Jr. The Todds were looking at gimmicks to make Big Todd, that's what they're going to be. They're going to be Big Todd and Little Todd now. Big Todd's, quote, outrageous widescreen epic around the world in 80 days, even more spectacular. You gonna be okay?
I'm good. I'm good with this.
The Todds pondered a few ways to use smell, but they went, nah, fuck it. We don't want to. And the movie did well anyway. I think I read somewhere it won an Oscar in 1956, like it around the world in 80 days. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it was hilarious as a child, but it might be a different one.
A 1956 movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's a good plot. It's a good plot.
1958, Big Todd died in a plane crash. I know.
With the Big Bopper? That wasn't it in 1958?
Yeah, and Richie Valens. And Lynyrd Skynyrd. Also, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
All of them. No, there was
Shirley Strawn from Skyhook. Also,
there was one in about
like
1958, around then.
There's a few, yeah. Buddy Holly. Fuck, I can name a lot of people who've died in plane and or helicopters. So at this point, Little Todd had produced, quote, no great theatrical or movie successes. But he did inherit two things from Big Todd. One was a shit tin of money.
And a name. He's got a name.
Oh, and a name, so three things. The second was his father's penchant for outrageousness. Also, weirdly...
Did he only get that when his dad died?
Yes. Before that, he was completely bland. He
and
was
then
an anodyne
suddenly
man.
You get passed on the personality.
Yeah,
it's like you become...
Fuck, I feel dynamic now. Dad's dead. This is fantastic. Also, weirdly, he was for a short time Elizabeth Taylor's stepson.
How can you be for a short time?
Because his father kept remarrying.
And she had a fair few marriages, I think. Yeah, fair
And
fair
even
enough.
better, when he was her stepson, he was older than her.
So you don't remain her stepson?
I don't think so.
Yeah, of course not.
Once you move on. Anyway, so he signed Laube, our Swiss buddy, to a movie deal, which would later on become Scent of Mystery. But it was on the condition that Scento-vision was renamed Smello-vision.
Yes, good.
You got your way.
There you go. Finally.
Smello-vision. When he was asked in an interview, why did you not name it something more dignified? Little Todd said, I don't understand how you can be dignified about a process that introduces smells into a theatre. And I don't think he's wrong.
Or we're making a movie, not a film.
Exactly. For fuck's sake. So they went off to make a stinky.
Stinky.
That is not a quote.
I could have gone worse. Smell-o-vision is the highbrow in my house.
Let's make a pongo. But Smell-o-vision wasn't the only game in town.
No, yes.
Oh, yeah. So now we bring in another inventor, Charles Weiss. I would say Weiss, but he's American, I think so Weiss. 1959, he's on a TV show on CBS called To Tell the Truth. Little quotes from him.
Please tell me it's the smell of truth.
I wish it was, but no. To tell the truth.
Can you put that? No.
That's how you can tell if someone's lying. The smell. This is Charles. I have invented a process to make movies smell. I call the process AromaRama. But that sounds like kind of fun.
They both sound fun.
So he called it AromaRama. The movie that was going to debut in was called Behind the Great Wall. It took 2.5 years to make, and it was unclear whether that was the movie or the AromaRama thing. I think it might have been a combo. So the quote goes on from Charles Weiss. In addition to seeing the action and hearing the dialogue, our audiences will be able to smell the scenes. More than 100 different aromas will be injected into the theatre during the film.
This is Behind the Great Wall?
Yep.
Yeah.
Among these are the odours of grass.
No, I want Sichuan chicken. I want some...
It's in there. No, it's not. Some chicken fried rice. Earth, exploding firecrackers. That smells great.
That's good.
A river, incense, burning torches, horses, restaurants, the smell of restaurant. And my favourite, the scent of a trapped tiger.
It's like piss and
fury.
Anger and
Piss and fury.
I don't want to smell the smell of a trapped tiger.
No, neither
because
do
that
I.
means you're too close to a trapped tiger.
Yeah.
I have no desire to
No.
be near a trapped tiger.
It also means you're a cunt because you've trapped a tiger. Don't do that.
I feel like even that piss, there's pheromones in that are saying, I'm going to fucking gut you
Yeah.
with my claw and I will fucking go all the way through
I
that.
reckon those pheromones are strong enough that you would gut yourself.
I feel like down in your basal bit of your brain,
Yeah.
the old bit of your
Yep.
brain,
Yep.
you are terrified of this thing, and it
and
is
you should
secreting
be.
all of the pheromones
Yep.
to say, be terrified of me.
Well, this movie will give you that.
If there was, I'm not a big watcher of horror movies because they scare me.
I love that.
But I am a huge applauder of horror movies that they can scare me. I think it's an amazing art form
wild.
to make people go so far into the zone. It's like, okay, so we know ghosts aren't real, but we're going to make you feel like, holy shit, this ghost is about to get you. And
Not just during the movie, for 2 to 3 years afterwards.
But I think that it's a beautiful art form, and to make
is.
people feel that is great. So
Imagine a horror movie with smell. Smell of ghost.
smell of trapped tiger.
Oh, it's terrible. And he goes on to say, we believe, like Rudyard Kipling, that smells are surer than sounds or sights to make the heartstrings crack.
Yes.
Crack is a strange word. So here's a synopsis of Behind the Great Wall from Eleanor Manica from allmovie.com. In an era where contact with mainland China was next to nothing, many other reviews called it Red China because that was the time, any film showing scenes from the People's Republic was worth seeing.
Sure. No, I totally
That's
get
fair,
it.
yeah.
And so these were actually shots from inside China?
Yeah, actually done behind the Great Wall.
Absolutely. I totally get that. That'd be cool.
In 1959, the shots of the Great Wall itself, the rolling green hills beyond it, harbours, temples, flower gardens, cityscapes were all enhanced by an idiosyncratic, fleeting experiment in cinematic insanity, AromaRama.
I do feel you can imagine, you get the cinematographers. They're like, I want to take really beautiful shots of China. And then the producer's like, okay, yes, and we're going to get the Smell-O-Vision team to just invent stuff. Sorry, AromaRama team.
AromaRama, please.
To just invent stuff based on this.
What if we go across the Great Wall? It smells a little bit like piddle. You're like, really? Have you been there? No. It smells a little bit like piddle.
Yeah, but we got a lot of that one. We're going to use that one a lot.
You've got too much piddle.
Also, restaurant and trapped tiger.
I love
That's
restaurant, yeah. What's this smell? Restaurant. The consensus was, according to Eleanor, in the end, that smelling a film just cannot make up for good direction, good acting, and good cinematography.
I'd love if it could.
Well, no. However, for a while, the technique gave new meaning to the phrase, this film stinks.
Yeah.
So the film was released on the 9th of December 1959, which is a bit over a month ahead of Scent of Mystery.
Hey.
So it beat it to the cinemas. So now we have AromaRama versus Smell-O-Vision, or what I would call the Stank Wars.
No.
No one else called it that. That's my fault. Here are the mechanisms, just briefly. So AromaRama smells went through the theatre's regular air ventilation system. So you basically stand there with a little spritzer in the AC and go,
Or a machine spritzers. But yeah, it's in the AC. Cool.
yep. Smell-O-Vision, however, the odours are piped through plastic tubing connected to individual seats. Each seat.
All the way into the seats.
All the way. Like
That's
there were
way more
miles
expensive
of
setup.
plastic tubing.
That's a big setup.
So not a lot of theatres were doing it.
Hang on. So that Smell-O-Vision goes to the seats,
Smell-O-Vision is the detailed one.
and AromaRama is just sort of the general.
Yeah, pour some shit in the AC filter. Variety magazine called the competition between Scent of Mystery and Behind the Great Wall the Battle of the Smellies. Some build it as a contest, this from my reading of these different reviews and things, some build it as a contest between the movies themselves, but really there was about the Pong tech. So, some reviews. Are you ready for some reviews?
Yeah.
A lot of quoting to come. Okay, Great Wall and AromaRama first, because we've kind of had a few Scent of Mystery, and we'll get to that in a tick. First one, the Sunday News awarded the film, the Behind the Great Wall, 3.5 out of 4 stars.
No, it's just for a second.
Why 4?
4 stars is not a system.
Not a thing.
And maybe it was back then.
Nope.
But we've had star inflation, 5 stars.
Ancient people are wrong.
So 3.5 out of 4. Let's convert that to percent.
We'll call it 81.9%.
No, do this proper. What is it in a 5-star system?
4.
It's 4 and a 4
out of 5.
4 and a third.
4.09. It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
No, it's doing all right. It's doing all right.
So the review's called Behind Great Wall Puts Smell on Screen, which is, again, like you said, smell. Immediately you go, that sounds bad.
Yeah, I'm not attracted by that, but...
No. The reviewer, Dorothy Masters, wrote, several wise men anticipated the birth of AromaRama, the major prophet being Charles Weiss, a public relations executive who journeyed afar to enlist the support of a chemical company, an electronic air filter plant, a camera equipment firm, and an industrial timer organisation. Fuck, I'd love to get into industrial timing. That's the growth. Together, they devised a workable system for coordinating the picture of an orange with the smell of an orange. It's a pretty shiny review.
Yeah. So it's coordinated. So basically what she's saying, it's coordinated.
There was technology
It happened.
that existed.
Is she saying it's good or not?
Kind of hard to say. But 3.5 out of 4, which we all know is 92.80%.
It's not.
Second one from Variety. AromaRama is merely a stunt. That's one line from Variety. Second line, the mechanics of it have now been demonstrated. The aesthetics will follow. But that's a prelude. So here's a chunky quote. The picture selected for AromaRama's introduction was a good choice. Leonardo Bonzi's documentary on present-day Red China, entitled, in the US, Behind the Great Wall. The actual smells of the suddenly dynamic land, however, were not reproduced in the theatre. That combination of human and soybean oil fragrance, known to all travellers in China, was not suffused.
Smell critique.
Not suffused.
Smell critique.
Yeah, smell dis.
I know my soybean oil smell.
And that was not it, sir.
And that's, in fairness, you kind of got to be precise. Like,
soy does smell like soy.
And I can imagine people going, oh, let's use some olive oil or whatever. Like,
what do we got left over?
It's got oil in the title.
We got potatoes. So the smell was not suffused. No, she goes on. Only pleasant or neutral smells, thank you. Very, very schoolmarmish. Someday, I suppose, an avant-gardist will inveigh against the cliche of the pleasant smell and write an odour score for a film that will be the equivalent of today's unhappy ending, cacophony, and psychopathic protagonist. That's how she ends that quote. She's grumpy.
I do want someone to do that. Hipsters out there, if you can, take over whatever the cinema is in LA that had the AromaVision or the Smellorama. I know I mixed them up.
Scento-vision.
And see what you can do that is the pure. All right, like you could do either like one of those torture porn movies, Saw or something like that, or you could do like a Dancer in the Dark, like Björk. You're like, this is my sadness or something. Do one of those.
Wasn't that Patrick Swayze?
No, but then chuck on all of the smells to make us as sad as possible. This is when you were dumped in high school. This is when you failed in your first job. This is
when you pooed yourself in front of the person you really wanted to marry. This is when you threw up.
If you can find all of those smells, please, I would love to go and watch that. I would watch the shit out of that.
I'd definitely start. I can't promise how long I'd last.
No, yeah.
Here's the third and final of the reviews of Behind the Great Wall. My favourite, New York Times reviewer, Bosley Crowther. And you're already knowing that person's angry already. They're mad with the name they've been given, so they're going to fucking take it out on everyone. So overall, he also called Behind the Great Wall a stunt. But
no,
get ready. There's a few quotes here that I think are worth it. Check off the novel experience as precisely what we've labelled it, a stunt. So check. The artistic benefit of it is here demonstrated to be nil. While odours are wafted through the theatre, as the picture is going on, more or less in the nature of certain odours you might expect to accompany certain scenes, the accuracy of these odours is capricious.
Oh.
Capricious odour. I've never heard those two words combined. To say the least, and the flow of sensations from the smell track is highly irregular.
Ah.
So you have an irregular flow in this instance.
Look, if you've left the restaurant and suddenly 2 minutes later you get the waft
The
of
hoisin sauce.
and you're like, fuck, we're in the street scene again. I want horses.
Why am I smelling restaurant? It goes on. This quote from Bosley Crowther. There is also a section of the picture representing a tiger hunt that is vivid, contains a certain terror, and pulses with suspense.
This is the trapped tiger.
Yeah. And a final panoramic sequence of a May Day parade in Peiping. There was a parade, thousands of persons joined in the flower deck display, pictorially stunning, breathtaking in its colourful massiveness. However, the odours concocted to characterise these and other sequences are mostly elusive, oppressive, or perfunctory and banal. So basically they were saying it didn't enhance the atmosphere, it confused it. And the final one from this, in between the suffusions of odours, the air in the theatre is cleared by a purifying treatment. That itself leaves a sickly sweet smell.
Yeah.
Which tends to become upsetting before the film has run its full 2 hours.
I'm getting triggered by this.
I know. When this viewer, the author, emerged from the theatre, he happily filled his lungs with that lovely fume-laden New York ozone. It has never smelt so good.
What is this, New York in the late 50s?
Yeah, early 60s, yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps we should note, for the record, that AromaRama is not to be confused with Smello-vision, another device for providing a motion picture with scents. Smello-vision is to be released by Mike Todd Jr. in January in connection with the new film Scent of Mystery. He's hoping all you moviegoers have strong olfactory nerves. So Behind the Great Wall got a bit of a beating. However, when people reviewed it without AromaRama, they said, pretty damn good.
Okay.
Good movie.
Do you have the details on how many cinemas played the smell?
Not on this one, no. It can't have been. Oh, actually, with this one, it could have been quite a few.
That was the easy one. That was the easy
one. Spray it into the air conditioning.
Yeah, as opposed to the pipe it into every seat individually.
Scent of Mystery, I think, at its max had 3 cinemas set up. Because literally miles of plastic tubing.
Yeah,
that
alone.
alone.
Ridiculous.
So let's talk about that. So Scent of Mystery was shown. This is reviews of Scent of Mystery. Just a couple more because we've already talked about it. I love this bit. Scent of Mystery was shown. Before it was an animated short film entitled Old Whiff.
What? It
was about a bloodhound who lost his sense of smell. Which seems a little strange.
Maybe it's just showing how sad things would be without your sense of smell. Let's dial it up.
Oh yeah, let us show you what it's like to not smell things.
Yeah, no, they're saying you remember not smelling like all of those other shitty movies that you've seen before. There you go. Now have a smell-o-vision.
You were Old Whiff and now you're not. So the film opened, according to reviewers, in 3 specially equipped theatres. So February 1960 in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. But the mechanism didn't work properly.
Of course.
So Variety says aromas were released with a distracting hissing noise, and audience members on the balcony complained the scents reached them several seconds after the action. So to be like, here's a gun going off, bang, and then just as you're seeing a lady spray on perfume, you get gunpowder.
I'm going several seconds not being actually bad in that technology. I would have thought several minutes, and I'd be like, okay, that's wrong.
In a movie though, if it's busy, even a few seconds would make a difference. But anyway,
we're expecting a lot from the technology to be on the second.
Well, they're review,
on the second is
they're critiques. They're critics. In other parts of the theatre, the odours were too faint, causing audience members to sniff loudly to try and catch the scent, which of course distracted others. You're like, I'm not getting anything.
I do like the leaning over and trying to sniff your neighbour's spot.
You don't do that in movies anyway? Some of the smells apparently did work. The ones that did work: flowers, perfume of the mystery girl in the film, tobacco, orange, shoe polish, port wine. And port wine came in when a man was crushed to death by falling barrels. They also apparently did well with baked bread, coffee, lavender, and peppermint.
Baked bread's nice.
It's fucking delicious. So a Variety review, 1959. Scent of Mystery. Carefully planned to synchronise scents with action in the film. Unlike AromaRama, which hit the market first, the script is designed with the smells in mind. So in the AromaRama presentation, the odours were added as an afterthought.
Ah, okay.
But in this, it's different. So Scent of Mystery wanders over the Spanish landscape. It covers all kinds of
And we're
views,
thinking,
towns, etc.
I have a whole bunch of paella smell.
Yes.
And I want to show that. So let's
Exactly.
get a scene where they're in a paella restaurant.
Apparently, the director wisely directed the film with tongue-in-cheek qualities. And a comedian said, a guy called Henny Youngman, who I don't know, but a comedian of the time, said, I didn't understand the picture because I had a cold at the time. So a reviewer in 2020, I assume he went back and looked at an old version, he said, it's a travelogue mystery film that's good despite being bad. It stinks, but only from the perfume released in the theatre. It's worth checking out for its gimmicky novelty of introducing smells into the theatre, great photography, and a twist ending.
This is a 2020 review.
Yeah, so they went back and found a way to watch it.
They found a way to watch it.
It would appear.
Okay, so that's a big jump up from I watched a DVD of it.
I think it was MTV or someone tried in the modern days to do one version. So even though technical adjustments by the manufacturers of Smell-O-Vision solved the problems that were going on with weird squirts, etc., it was too late by the time a few people had seen it. So there were negative reviews, word of mouth. The film failed miserably. And it quickly disappeared from theatres.
That was the
Scent of Mystery. It was re-released 2 years later without smells and retitled Holiday in Spain, which the Daily Telegraph described as this. The film acquired a baffling, almost surreal quality, since there was no reason why, for example, a loaf of bread should be lifted from the oven and thrust into the camera for what seemed like an unconscionable time. So for the non-smell version, you're like, why the fuck are you waving this loaf of bread around? Like when 3D overdid it.
Yeah. But even then, is there a plot point in the Smell-O-Vision version to really waft the bread in your face?
It's Jesus, breaking bread.
Where's the plot?
No idea. So this is probably why when the remix finally, Little Todd, he cut the running time from 125 minutes to 75. And it did okay if it was played at cinemas that just showed the, like the Cinerama mega view. So it looked cool. Apparently it still looked cool. So with the failure of Scent of Mystery, Laube, the original guide, one source says, quietly disappeared. Todd Jr., Little Todd, his Hollywood career also didn't go so well.
What?
He had plans for 2 more films, which he announced with apparently some fanfare. One was a sci-fi picture called Creature from the Bronx.
Smell? What is the smell?
We're not getting none. And the other was my favourite here, Bumpkin's Holiday. And here it was going to be, the plan was it was going to be a guy riding a bus. And there was no dialogue, so it's just some dude.
It's the smells of all the people that get on the bus.
None of these had smells. This was just movies. Neither of these films were made.
Okay.
And after around 20 years from this, he finally produced one more movie, which was, to quote one critic, a painfully serious cinematic version of suicidal poetess Sylvia Plath's novel, The Bell Jar.
Great. Cool.
Ooh. So Smell-O-Vision,
Painfully serious is a strong review.
It's The Bell Jar. Like Sylvia Plath is not known for her upbeat, cartoonish kind of ways anyway.
No, but there are many markets.
I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just saying serious is one thing, painfully is another. So that was his last thing that I'm aware of. So yeah, none of this scent stuff.
Yeah, you don't come back from painfully serious.
You don't.
Like no one out there is going, all right, give this guy some money. I want some more of the painfully serious stuff.
I watched this movie and I wanted to kill myself. Is not a shining endorsement. So the dream didn't die though, even though this stuff didn't carry on. So the dream didn't die of Smell-O-Vision. 1965, BBC TV interviewed a man who'd invented a new technology which he also called Smell-O-Vision.
Did he check if anyone had done this before?
Apparently not. But
it was only like 6 years later.
No internet. The tech allowed people to experience the same aromas they were going to see in the TV studio. So they demonstrated this. This guy chopped onions in the studio and brewed a pot of coffee. Viewers would call in later on to say, we totally smelt the stuff that came through the TV.
So they smelt the coffee and the onions?
Yeah. It aired on April the 1st, and that was deliberate. It was an absolute fake. In 1982, John Waters. Have you seen shots of John Waters, the film guy? Very weird, old school, like 1920s evil villain-looking dude.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He made a movie called Polyester, and he called it in Odorama. And what he did was it was kind of an homage to AromaRama and Smell-O-Vision.
Odor. Again, to go back to smell being not positive, odor not positive.
Odor's never positive. Smell could be like, it smells good.
A good odor? No, there is no good odor.
Pleasant odor.
That is like the best version of body odor. Like
it's still like you smell more innocuous than not, but not.
No,
really.
Yeah,
it's fucking awful. So he did a movie called Polyester, as I said, and it was accompanied by, when they went to the movies, you got a scratch and sniff card.
Oh, okay.
And when a number flashed on the screen, you'd scratch the equivalent number on your little blob.
I don't want to work in a movie.
No, you don't. The smells included scents of flowers, pizza, grass, glue, and feces.
Really?
Yeah. Feces. Well, John Waters is a dirtbag. He said in one interview a bit later he was stoked that audiences were literally paying to smell shit. And then for the DVD release, though, he was told they had to take away the smell of glue because, as he put it, political correctness, because glue you get high on. And the slug line for the release was, "It'll blow your nose." So when they put out the DVD version, what they did was, the jerks, they gave you the little card. The first smell, because they don't tell you what it is. So the first smell was roses. So you go, okay, cool. The next one, flatulence. Then pizza, gasoline, skunk, natural gas, and on it goes. New car smells.
Look, no, I'm not against. This is using scent as an art thing. You go, okay, you're going to smell skunk, and it's going to be interesting in your nose.
I've never smelt skunk, but I gather it's beyond horrific. Nasally, beyond horrific.
Yeah. Well,
other people tried. It's 2003, Rugrats Go Wild. They had a scratch and sniff thing.
Did they really? Rugrats?
I can't believe you haven't seen that, because you have children who are
Rugrats is in the wrong zone. I watched a bunch of Rugrats, but not with kids. I didn't know they had a smell-o-vision episode.
Dude's got to have a hobby. 2011, Spy Kids, All the Time in the World.
I do know Spy Kids. I don't know if I've watched that one. Spy Kids they're not great movies.
No. Isn't that Emilio Estevez and Molly Ringwald?
No, Robert Rodriguez, I think.
Robert Rodriguez?
No, it's... no, I'm not going to remember. But it's...
Anyway, they had a crack. They used AromaScope, scratch and sniff, blah, blah, blah. And finally, though, what about... Did it go beyond movies? So this smell thing is a thing. So in the 1990s, there was a California startup called DigiSense, and they launched their iSmell concept. They raised $20 million in their original offer. So what they wanted to make was an at-home device that would work by plugging it into a computer's USB port.
Yeah.
The smell would be generated from a replaceable cartridge, like an inkjet printer. It would use, are you ready, 128 primary odors.
Are there?
To mix into every smell imaginable.
Are there really? Does that exist? Can we go?
That's what they had.
A bit of fecal and a bit of lemon.
Yeah, and some chip with a little bit of
gasoline,
puff,
perfume.
Problem was it didn't work well. The smells commingled. They had the same problem with smell-o-vision at 2001. 2 years after they got the prototype, ran out of money. Job done. In 2013, new scientists said we've got the smelling screen. So Tokyo University. Actually, the Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology in Japan. Some researchers went, we've got a screen. So it makes smells appear to come from the exact spot on any LCD screen that the thing appears
so
to
they
be.
can locate the smells.
Yeah. So you got a cup of coffee.
Are they the right smells?
Well, they tried coffee and stuff. So bottom left of your screen, you see a cup of coffee, and the mechanism means it smells like it's come from the bottom left of your screen.
That was not the biggest problem that I had with this. I know we have like two nostrils, but my biggest problem was not precisely defining the direction. I'm not a dog.
You're just not Japanese.
My biggest problem was getting the right odor for all of these things.
Look, the claim seems to be that worked, but they had a continuous feed. So they had vaporizing gel pellets and 4 airstreams. So there's an airstream in each corner of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So then the airstream would blow out to sort of show the
these
location.
People really do believe it's going to happen.
This is 2013. They said that, look, the system at the time, it only pumped out 1 scent at a time, but they were very excited that they could come up with cartridges which you'd replace like printer cartridges again, same thing. Have you heard about any of that? Have you seen any of that?
No, I really haven't.
So I don't think, from what I looked at, nothing since the early 2010s has moved on.
We're not that far from the 2010s.
10 years.
People work on these things slowly.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but it certainly freaking hasn't. And look, the bottom line to me, it seems, so there seem to be at least 3 serious reasons why it doesn't work. One is Apparently, we don't know a lot about how smell works in our brains and stuff anyway.
That's pretty big.
It's an issue.
That's big.
It's an issue.
Look, let's just say it's molecules. Let's just say it's molecules, and we're detecting huge variety of molecules, like vast in the way
and
that,
at a speed of change to be able to like swap from one to the other and process the nuances. So that's an issue.
Yeah.
Second, the tech so far is complex and also, my term, pretty gooey. You need goo. And the other, as it seems, is, and there are other examples of this around 2013 as well, but we'll say that for another time. If you were to introduce this technology, people would need to keep replenishing their goo cartridges.
Yeah.
And it seems like we don't give a shit enough.
I'm going to add another version, fourth reason. Imagine we can get to a scenario where we go, okay, we can accurately understand how smell works, and we can accurately make smell via some sort of magical tiny 3D printer. Like it's at the molecule level. We can churn out exactly the right molecule.
A wee printer.
Yeah. And it's in your TV. So theoretically, we could make all of that stuff. Do we want it? I have no desire to go all of a sudden, Thanos is shitting himself at the end of Endgame. Like, I just don't. Like, my story sense is not improved by smell.
I agree. Even, look, I mean, one of the bleeding edges in entertainment technology is always what's driven by the porn industry. We know this. It just has been. And given that, it sounds like I'm just being standard revolting me, but honestly, though, it's true. Like, video technologies, streaming technologies, blah, blah, blah. The porn industry has had a big hand in all of those. I don't think it should have a big hand in this.
I'm struggling. I'm really struggling to imagine. Okay. You're in an art museum, and they go, okay, we can transport you to a Chinese restaurant.
Bruges.
Yeah, whatever. That's cool. Okay, that's cool. I can imagine little bits where you go, okay, this is cool. But the idea of mainstream Hollywood movies going, okay, so super blockbuster. The only way to have a super blockbuster, A, you got to have a great story, B, you got to make a great picture, and C, you got to have great smells. I just don't believe it. There is no way that I care enough about smelling the wins or the losses or anything. It doesn't add to it enough. Like, it's
me neither. Look, I love visuals. I love sci-fi, for example. I don't care what a spaceship smells like. I mean, unless it's real.
I'd like to know.
Yeah, but you don't know if that's true because it's made up. But yeah, I agree. Like, do I need to smell it?
Is this like a virtual reality thing though? Maybe. Like you know, we're still thinking TV. You know, stop it, man.
We're just being old-fashioned.
Go 3D. Put the goggles on, and suddenly you go, okay, this will actually immerse me way more.
But 3D is a good example because that's gone well.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember the 3D TV thing for a while, for example?
I know. Like literally, I think
you can't buy one anymore.
I think my previous TV had the 3D button, and this one doesn't even have it. Yeah. So,
did you ever use it?
Once.
And was it 3D?
Yeah, kinda.
No.
Kinda. And I can imagine, I can imagine you go to a virtual reality, event space or something like that. You go, it's equipped for it, you do it, but no one's going to buy this at home.
No.
And the same thing, I can't imagine mainstream people just going, okay, let's have some smells with our Friday night movie.